Hello everybody, welcome back to Pixar T Astrology. I'm your host Pix, and today we're going to be delving into what to expect for the astrology of this week. We have Mercury stationing direct in Virgo. We have a new moon in Virgo. So we have a lot of extra focus on Virgo stuff. The Virgo house in your chart is definitely prime for some positive changes. We are in Virgo season still, so some energy we're familiar with. Also, Venus in Leo makes its final square to Jupiter in Taurus. And so this is a week that's really good for DIY, a great week to start a project or play with some new tech. The overall mood is a week of fixing old issues, old problems, while at the same time diving into some more positive stuff. But before we get started, I want to remind you all about a couple things. I have to plug my things. I have my membership on my website called The Fellowship, where you could sign up to receive weekly horoscopes based on your rising sign, or monthly horoscopes that come with kind of like daily transit, what to expect, and also remediations on how to handle the planetary energy of the month. You can get the link in the description to learn more about that. Of course, I'm available for one-on-one consultations. If you're interested in getting a reading, the link to schedule is in the description. And lastly, don't forget, we have the 9th House Discord server that you can join for free and have a nice little fun mystical community to chat astrology and tarot and all other fun things with. As always, there are timestamps in the description if you want to hop straight to a particular day or if you want to skip my intro. But I do want to talk about a couple recent events because there's a lot going on in culture right now. A lot of celebrity downfalls happening, which is a really interesting finale to the Venus direct. Venus is still in its shadow, of course, until October 7th. So we're seeing a lot of things that were probably simmering during the retrograde come up to be dealt with. The first one I want to talk about or mention is just the Sophie Turner-Joe Jonas divorce and how Joe Jonas is trying to make Sophie Turner look bad with the divorce, saying that she's not a good mom, essentially. He's not saying that, but they're kind of saying that. That's rough. Sophie Turner team here. And what about the 8 passengers thing? The, what's her name? Ruby Franke, the mommy blogger who just got arrested for abusing her children. And I think just today or recently she had a hearing. I think it was today or yesterday. She had a hearing where they were discussing what to do with the kids. And she brought up, trigger warning, she brought up that one of her children SA'd 20 other children. And so everybody, of course, lost their shit with that. The judge ordered that the child has to be in a place where there are no other children now because Ruby said this. Of course, people are not fully believing Ruby because of, her past behavior and how she is. But we all have to take it seriously, of course. I think what bothered a lot of people was the fact that it seemed like she deflected blame onto her children immediately, throwing her children under the bus. If you knew your child was SAing a bunch of other children, including your other children, wouldn't you do something about that instead of get arrested and then tell everybody about it? Anyway, more interesting antics. We have Jimmy Fallon's downfall, which if anyone pays attention to blind items or just celebrity culture in general, you kind of already knew Jimmy Fallon was allegedly a drunk and a skier. Looks pretty obvious if you ever watch his show, but that's fun. He's the new Ellen DeGeneres, so we're gonna let him have his downfall. And we have Danny Masterson, who just got arrested, 30 years, and he deserved all of those 30 years, if not more. And then moving on from celebrity downfalls, we also have Burning Man. Actually, no, let's not move from celebrity downfalls. We have Burning Man, which is a joke, right? Burning Man is just for rich people. It costs a lot of money to go. So either you're sponsored or you're rich in order to go to one of those. And they pretend it's like an anti-capitalist community thing. And it's just not. And there were videos of Chris Rock and Diplo escaping Burning Man. Burning Man was a big deal for any of you who haven't heard. Burning Man got rained on, and it was I think it was officially considered a natural disaster. So we're wondering if it's happening next year. I'm sure it will be because it's full of people with money, but it looks bad. Looks real bad. But yeah, Chris Rock and Diplo were seen escaping Burning Man. It's an escape because you weren't supposed to leave. And this kind of sparked a resurgence of information about Diplo and Chris Rock's past and how they are both predators. So I won't get into the specifics of that, but if you just look it up on TikTok, or I recommend TikTok because Google doesn't really work. But Diplo and Chris Rock also hopefully having their downfalls, along with the Burning Man in general. Also, I heard that the hot chip got taken off the shelves, that the like super hot chip that everyone was eating as a challenge. I think they're called Pocky chips. Apparently a kid died trying to do the challenge. So those are getting taken off the shelves, which is interesting because we've seen a lot of people doing that challenge. And I know I brought it up last week, but I'm going to bring it up again. Starfield, okay? There's a lot of discourse about Starfield on whether or not it's a good game or not. I won't get super into it, although I could. But I'm super laughing at, like, who are they? The Trumpers, the conservatives, the QAnon people, the red pill people, all of them being mad about Starfield having pronouns. Listen, I think Starfield is mid at best, okay? And I'm a Bethesda stan. I love their stupid bugs. I love the type of quests they do, etc. But Starfield is mid, okay? But I will stan Starfield. I will stan it to death if it's going to piss off people who are mad about pronouns. What's that guy that's going viral for yelling about the pronouns and how it like took him out of the immersive experience and got mad that it was political? Have you ever played a Bethesda game? They're inherently political. Skyrim is inherently political, and so is Fallout. So get over yourselves. Pronouns are here to stay. Thank you. So yeah, a lot of events going on in the past week since we have spoken. The amount of celebrity downfalls is wild with this Venus station, and I'm here for it. So let us move on. All right, let's talk about the energy that will be felt throughout the entire week, which includes Mercury stationing direct at 8 degrees Virgo. So the reason Mercury stationing is kind of an all-week thing is because Mercury needs to slow down to then stop and change directions. You know, I'm always harping on a planet's speed. It makes a big difference on that planet's archetype and the associations with it. So Mercury has been retrograde since August 23rd, the start of Virgo season. And on Friday, September 15th, it will stop to then change directions and start moving forward again. So when a planet stops or slows down to a glacial pace, this amps up Mercury's energy. The Mercury stopped specifically energy, which can make it a little more intense, but it's starting to move forward. So it's a lot easier than when it stations to go backwards, right? So we can expect still a lot of the Mercury retrograde themes this week, and maybe a little more intense than the week before, honestly, but the issues will be a lot smaller and a lot easier to fix. So there will be quick resolutions to things this week if there are hurdles to jump. So like miscommunications or tech issues might still come up this week, but they're likely to get sorted out a lot faster. So also, Mercury stationing direct means that it's an okay time. It's an okay time to start things, but you got to keep your patience hat on, right? There are still travel delays that are possible, but there are quick fixes to these issues. The other thing about Mercury stationing, Mercury rules commerce and business. So commercial activities and commerce could also have possibly quick to resolve issues or things to iron out this week. But Mercury will be stationing opposite Saturn in Pisces. So there may be some reality checks and a call for grounded discussions. Issues that come up urge practicality, and some of it can be fairly sobering, but it's about 6 degrees away, so it's not a tight opposition. Just know that there is some of that Saturn energy, sobering, reality checks, needing to stay grounded, etc. Your Virgo house and your Gemini house topics that are experiencing delays or redos or recalibrations are going to begin moving forward. Although, again, with some bumps, things aren't perfect. You got to iron out the details. And again, Gemini risings and Virgo risings may feel a little bit tired, a little bit burnt out, or on the other hand, super focused or have like a one-track mind about something. You'll definitely feel 100% by next week when Mercury is picking up speed. And mundanely, you might hear news about like a software update that fixes a bunch of annoying bugs, making everyone's day-to-day digital life a little bit smoother. Maybe there's a new software update coming for something. So Mercury stationing direct in Virgo, personified, would be like a very detail-oriented editor who's finally hitting publish on something, but still keeping an eye out for any last-minute corrections that need to be done. So because Mercury is stationing direct, this week is good for fixing technology issues, sorting out computer or phone stuff, TV stuff. It's also a good week to revise something, quick edits on projects or writing or posts or content that you're going to put out. It's also really good for booking travel or booking trips. You can safely schedule trips once Mercury is direct again. Virgo is very health-oriented, so schedule your doctor appointments especially for your throat and your lungs, because that's what Mercury rules. Also, decluttering this week is supported. Tidying up your home or your workspace. It'll be a lot easier than usual. Cleaning your car will be a lot easier than usual. And of course, reconnecting, clearing up miscommunications, misunderstandings. It's also a good time to start a class, online or otherwise. So we're kind of on time with school starting for a lot of people. Mercury stationing direct will be felt most by people with planets or points in the beginning or middle of the mutable signs. So that's Gemini, especially Gemini risings, Virgo, especially Virgo risings, Sagittarius, and Pisces placements. So that's what we have for Mercury stationing. We're excited to get things back in order, but we got to remember the soberingness of it opposing Saturn. Also, the other big feelings we're going to be getting this week have to do with Venus and Leo squaring Jupiter at 15 degrees Taurus. This exacts on Saturday, September 16th. So this is energy that we've been feeling for about the past month because they have been squaring each other on and off. And I've been talking about this being kind of fun or overconfident or just extra. And so this third pass is pretty much the mature version of what you've been working through with these transits. So what can you expect? What are the vibes? So splurging is one big vibe, wanting to treat yourself to something when you can't afford it. That's common with this energy. Excessiveness in general, like a theme of more is better, which sometimes pushes boundaries in too far of a direction sometimes. The other key word with this transit is hemorrhaging. Metaphorically, it means a rapid depletion of resources or of energy. So hemorrhaging is possible. Also, complications related to blood comes up with Jupiter also. Good time for blood tests. Also, an amplification of things. So an amplification of emotions, an amplification of desires, an amplification of reactions, just big feelings. Blowing small issues out of proportion is definitely common with this too. Big love is also an energy, maybe feeling extra affectionate, maybe too much for some people's comfort, squeezing them too tight. Also, be aware of FOMO this week. Don't double book yourself though. Also, having high expectations is possible this week or for the past month. Being very hopeful is possible. Being a little too hopeful is possible, leading to some sort of disappointment, maybe. But yeah, the overall vibe, overconsumption, overindulgence, going too far in many directions, pleasure seeking, maybe with food or spending, or just emotional responses being big. And you might have noticed that those were some feelings we had for the past month. If this transit was a person, it would be a friend who convinces you to go to like a really fancy dinner and then also suggests dessert, leaving you both very thrilled, very full, and a bit regretful. That's this square between the benefics, the fixed signs too. So this happens on Saturday. So this energy is strongest at the end of the week and over the weekend. So the weekend energy is really good for going out, a fancy night out, going out on a date or a dinner with friends. Just be aware of the overindulgence and the overspendiness, but it can still make it fun. Also, spa days are supported, treating yourself to some sort of luxurious pampering. These are good things to do to use the energy so the energy doesn't use you, right? Investing in art or doing art, creating art. It's a great time to buy an art piece you've been eyeing or start working on one. Gaming sprees are also supported this week, diving into a visually stunning or a high drama video game. And be aware, don't splurge on any in-game purchases. You don't need it. Cooking is also supported. Cooking a feast, whipping up lavish, yummy meals, or trying a complicated recipe, supported. And of course, socializing in general. I was mentioning earlier going on, a fancy night out. It doesn't have to be a fancy night out. You could just throw a small party or a get-together. But again, keep an eye on that guest list. Avoid it from, overloading. So this vibe is felt most by the fixed signs, especially the fixed rising signs, but generally people with planets or points at the middle degrees of Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. Y'all will be needing to rein it in the most, or the most obviously. So now I've talked about kind of the energy of the entire week. The weekdays will be very Mercury retrograde themed, but a lot easier than we have been dealing with for the past few weeks. And the weekend will be very indulgent. So let's talk about the new moon that's happening on Thursday, September 14th. The new moon is at 21 degrees Virgo, and it is very closely trine Uranus in Taurus. So what vibes can we expect on Thursday with this new moon? We can expect fresh starts, especially because Mercury is starting to move forward again. But new moons are known for planting seeds and new beginnings that come to fruition in 6 months during the full moon in Virgo. So what kind of flavored new beginnings can we look at? We can look at, first of all, obviously, look at the Virgo house in your chart. Which house does Virgo rule? Look at those house topics. This is where the new beginnings are being planted that you will see come to fruition in 6 months when there is a full moon in Virgo during Pisces season. Spontaneous breakthroughs are possible on Thursday. Uranus, trining brings a flash of insight. It encourages you to be very innovative and to break free of the usual ways of doing things, especially when it's in the practical and earthly matters of Taurus. The other thing about this new moon is it also trines by sign Jupiter in Taurus. So this amplifies the potential for abundance and for growth, steering you towards a more stable and practical parts of your ventures. We have a nice mixture of the Uranus and Jupiter energy to stabilize. So you should also look at the Taurus house in your chart to get an idea of what topics will be coding this new moon for you. And then based on the archetypes involved, we can expect health kicks, possibly. Sudden urge to try a new diet or a new routine of some kind is supported. Money moves are possible with this new moon, unplanned possibly, but smart financial opportunities could definitely pop up with this new moon. And again, the earthly innovative energy, thinking like eco-friendly changes that actually do make life easier. The thing about this new moon, it looks really good with the trines to Uranus, the trine to Jupiter, and generally being out of the way of the malefics, but it's in Virgo, so it's ruled by Mercury, who is stationing. So while there's a lot of promising energy to this new moon, the Mercury ruling it definitely advises careful communication and double checking, triple checking things before moving forward with these new beginnings, or at least just being patient with your new beginnings, allowing for a little bit more of a horizontal growth rather than a direct vertical growth. This new moon can be represented by like a gardener, a very skilled gardener who unexpectedly finds some sort of hidden treasure while tilling and planting seeds, which makes both the effort and the surprise worthwhile. So this new moon on Thursday, what is it good for? I told you to look at the Virgo house in your chart. That's the big topic going on this week. But other things you can do for this Thursday, this new moon, plant something. It's a great time for gardening, and it might pay off in surprising ways thanks to Uranus and Jupiter. Also, a budget overhaul if you want to look at your finances, spice them up, and maybe do some practical but unexpected or unconventional changes with your finances. That could be like selling something you weren't expecting to sell, or buying something you weren't expecting to buy, or just hearing something about material things in your life. This is also a great new moon to try a new recipe. It's a good week for cooking, whipping out something out of the ordinary, especially that's both tasty and good for you, is supported. And DIY projects. It's a very good time for crafts or home improvements or art projects that you're working on that you can kind of chisel away at, that you don't need to finish right away, but putting a layer on. Also, job applications are supported for Thursday. It's a very good time to send out resumes or apply for gigs that are unusually outside of your scope. You're supported in that. And again, the Virgo chart focus, okay? This is an ideal week and an ideal new moon for manifesting new beginnings in the Virgo ruled house of your natal chart. So look at those house topics, and I recommend lighting a candle. That's my favorite thing. I love lighting a candle to manifest things. It can be any candle. I use dollar store candles and I write on them. Sorry. But yeah, if Virgo rules, for example, the 11th house in your chart, light a candle to manifest the community that's best for you, or new friends, or money from your job, all of those 11th house topics. Or if Virgo is your 7th house, you can manifest better one-on-one connections, either a partner, friends, clients, etc. You get the point. So this is going to be felt by people with planets or points that are in the mutable signs and also Cancer rising. So anyone with important planets or points in Virgo, Gemini, Sag, Pisces will definitely be able to use or notice this new moon most viscerally. Virgo risings will be feeling it, with their identity, having the opportunity to manifest something to do with your body, your health, your appearance, your identity, the way that you're seen, the way that you see other people, your perspectives. Gemini risings will be noticing this in their private life, with their foundation, with roots kind of growing a little bit deeper in their foundation, in their private life, their emotional life, in their family, or with their parents. Sagittarius rising will be feeling this new beginning, which feels like a lull at first because dark moons are for rest and relaxation. Right up until the moon is essentially dying or going to sleep. The light is being lost. And so a lot of the times during the waning moon, people are exhausted too. And it's a time for rest and rejuvenation and relaxation. And then we hit the new moon. And that's when we plant seeds and we start revving back up to go. Sagittarius risings will be noticing it with their career, their jobs, or the roles they take on in their life. That can be mother, that can be, partner, that can be neighborhood watch, whatever roles you take on in life, there's some sort of new beginning available there for you. Pisces risings will be noticing this in relationships or new beginnings with other people or another person, and has the opportunity to manifest something to do with that as well. And then Cancer risings are always affected by new moons and full moons. I'd like to bring that up more often, but there's only so much I can remember as a stoner. But Cancer risings, you're ruled by the moon. So whenever the moon is doing anything, you're feeling it viscerally. Like this represents you in the sky. So when we have a new moon, Cancer risings might be feeling like you want to stay in your cocoon and wanting to stay inside and renew and just kind of chill. So that's what I have this week. It is a week full of fresh starts and new adventures, but expect some wobbles, just like a newborn deer finding its legs. So thank you so much for being here. Comment below if you have any questions. Let me know what's going on for you this week. I love to read your comments. Y'all are the best. If you want to delve deeper into astrology with me, remember I have my fellowship on my website that offers personalized horoscopes. I'm also available for one-on-one consultations if you want to book a reading with me. And don't forget, you can join the free 9th House Discord server if you want to make some mystical friends. So thank you again, y'all, and I will see you next week. Bye!